So it didn't even take me that long to find a comment that I wanted to respond to. This is a very quick one from Michael. Too bad for you, lady. You, in all caps, made us this way. MGTOW brothers, MGTOW. That's all he says, right? So again, it kind of proves my point about some of the frustration that men have gone through with certain women and how they may have gotten hurt. Um, when some of you men say you made us this way, you're pointing to one particular person or one particular experience or a couple of similar experiences and then applying them to all women. Women, you made us this way. But the person who wrote this doesn't know me from the crack of Samuel Jackson's ass. Like, why are you saying this when you really don't even know me? You made us this way. Okay. Well, let's touch on that topic. I'm not going to say I did. But let's just say I'm aware of certain women who might fit that description a little bit better, right? Because myself and a lot of the women I roll with, I don't put us in that category of some of the women who actually know you're talking about. Because some women are catty, like, can't even get into that discussion, but I actually feel for some men because if you're in certain situations or certain states, certain places where you seem to have this cookie cutter mainstream type of woman, I might have to have some empathy for you because there might actually be that situation. I don't know. Sometimes I don't think you guys are looking in the right place. Bug spray, right? Because mosquitoes are just a little interesting. So let me speak to also some of the women. If you get a good guy and he's treating you well, maybe don't be such an ass, right? So don't think, brothers, I don't have your back either, right? Because I see some of the stuff that happens, like I really do. Some women just want too much and they're never satisfied, and they actually have quite a good lifestyle and a lot of good things, and then get greedy, right? So it's like men can get greedy with certain things, maybe sex, maybe woman, maybe whatever. But women can get greedy with certain things too. So watch that. I've heard of a few stories where maybe the couple gets to get together under a set of circumstances, and although we all must grow and change, nothing can really stay the same forever. She decided to change careers. So they both were working, right? Some YouTubers I know would disagree with me because their whole philosophy would be the man should work, the woman shouldn't. That's just a different conversation. But if you're talking about the two people working and you have an agreement and this couple was like making over $300,000 a year, lived in a very beautiful neighborhood, all these things, then all of a sudden she decides she wants to switch careers for whatever reason, which happens. He was actually on board with her and, wanted to help her pursue her plan and said, well, we're just going to have to move to a more modest neighborhood. Not the hood where you're getting shot, just a more modest neighborhood. That's maybe not what $400,000. You know what I mean? Like just a little bit different. And she was like, no, I want to maintain this lifestyle, and we're just going to have to work it out, and you're just going to have to work, and it's still going to have to come from your paycheck. So he does this. They stay in this neighborhood. They stay in this house. But he's working so hard and traveling so much and doing so many different things to maintain the bills. Then she starts complaining that he's never around and doesn't spend time with her. Just be mindful that it's definitely never going to be always the man's fault or always the woman's fault. My first video came as a frustration with a certain type of man who is just so annoying because he thinks he's just going to be gorgeous until like literally 1 foot's in the ground, and it's just disgusting. It's annoying to me. I'm actually talking about a different topic and probably should not have labeled it MGTOW, but then again, it's all related, right? So it counts. Again, thanks for the views. I'm glad I used that hashtag. But women and men, I'll speak to both of you. Try to practice a little bit more gratitude. I feel like if we practice more gratitude in general towards each other and appreciation towards each other, there'd be a lot less room for anger and dissatisfaction, and a lot more room for happiness and satisfaction. Because again, it's law of attraction. If you're going to complain about everything, well, that's what you're going to get. If you're happy for having a mate who's on your side and all the stuff, be happy for that in itself. Everything's not going to be in the movies, you know. Diana Ross and Billy D. Williams sparks all the time. I'm doing this kind of really like, what's going on my eyebrows? But anyway, it's the only thing about doing YouTube videos. You're watching yourself and you do the whole time. So next time I might put up a little sheet because I don't see myself because that's distracting and I really just want to talk. Podcast might be great for that. But anyway, you know, everything's not always going to be sparks and roller coasters and butterflies in my stomach, ladies. So just because you're in a marriage for 5 years does not mean like as soon as things start changing, that's your time to start acting like an ass. Because a lot of men that have responded, part of that's what they're talking about. They're like, you know, they don't want to be miserable. They're doing their best to make these certain wives happy. And then some wives are just getting like totally out of control. And the reason I'm angry about this is because you ladies are actually making it hard for us. The same way this guy here was like, well, you made us unhappy. You turned us into MGTOWs. He's talking to y'all, ladies, that I'm talking to right now, that are so ungrateful and just always wanting more and so greedy that you make the men unhappy. And now he's thinking all women are like this. It's very unfortunate, and you kind of mess it up for people like myself, my friends. You mess it up for people, right? So it's like you're making these men bitter. I don't know. It's just a little weird. Let's see what other random comment. I can't believe I got these many comments. This is just like amazing to me. I'm gonna start really using more radical hashtags. Oh, and you can tell this guy also has comprehension issues because I did say I was not a modern day feminist, but he's like, your typical Western American woman feminist shaming language won't work any longer. I just told you, dumbass, I'm actually not into feminism. So it's like, some of these people on here, they're looking for an argument, and like I get that, and I could be angry and kind of react and waste my time responding to all of it, but the truth is, you taking that amount of time to write me some of the length of paragraphs some of you people are writing means that I'm touching something in you that you care about. So you're being defensive, perhaps, and you're being very argumentative. But if you really felt that what you were doing was 100% correct, you wouldn't feel the need to give that much attention in these comments, and that's just real. If I don't choose to purchase a lot of things that are mass-produced, and obviously you can't help it sometimes, we get that. But if I'm very conscious about certain things that I purchase, I'm not going to go to Walmart writing them letters, at least not me. You guys just suck, and like all of this argumentative stuff. I'm just not going to do it. So if you feel so right about what you're doing and feel such a sense of value of yourself in what you're doing, why do I have all these comments? Like, I'm amazed. I'm kind of proud of myself, quite frankly, because a lot of this I'm doing for, yes, to have a conversation and yes, to see how this comes out, but I'm also doing this for a sense of self-entertainment. So to see some of these responses. And then someone sent me a link. Thank you, John, for sending that link. I'll check it out because not all of your comments, again, like I said, are pointless. Oh, this is so funny. So Rich Rag says, she must not have heard of feminism and the Me Too movement. And that's it, right? So he's trying to bring in a little controversy, but what he doesn't know about me is I'm not really with the Me Too movement. I mean, I'm not going to make this a whole entire video about Bill Cosby or different people. I can't. But let's just say I think it's a little ridiculous. If you think I'm a Me Too person, I'm not. So your comment is a little moot as far as I'm concerned. And again, actually, let me not just dismiss it that much. It's like, you guys probably really are scared because this is a whole other thing I'm noticing with the whole like dating scene in certain work environments. Everything's becoming a form of harassment. Um, if you try to take a woman out on a date, he harassed me. Again, regarding that Me Too comment, I think that's complete BS. I would not be here if my father did not pursue my mother on the job. That's just real. They worked together. That's how they met. According to my mother, she didn't really like him all that much at first and was like, can you stop, trying to take me on a date? Apparently, I don't know. I think a few people hung out as friends. Obviously, whatever happened because I'm here, right? So at some point, she must have said yes. They dated, got married, had me 7 years later, which is another topic. Yes, when you come from like certain parents and certain families, a lot of my aunts and uncles stayed married until somebody died. It's a beautiful thing to watch, but it also does me a disservice because I grew up expecting a certain thing and things being normal. So to now be in this sort of world where it's like, Me Too and MGTOW and all this shit, it's like, okay, I'm not used to that. I just really thought things would be a little bit more simple. It's not that deep. Let's live a good life. Let's just go. Let's live a good life. It's not that serious, but apparently it is that serious because it's not that simple. Some of this, some of you women need to chill out with that. You're making it hard for men to approach women just on a normal phenomenon. Now, if someone's touching your ass and they're really out of line, we know what that is. We know what real sexual harassment is. We know what rape is. But if you're going to make a man feel bad every time he just looks at you a certain way or says that your dress is pretty today or says you look nice today or, hey, do you want to go out for coffee at lunch, and then you're automatically screaming Me Too and harassment, well, yeah, a lot of men are going to get very, wow. I'm just trying to even put myself in their shoes, and that's annoying. Like, at the same time, there's some of you men who don't know how to take no for an answer. So again, I think there needs to be a little bit of a balance with that. Like, don't make women feel like you're raping them through their clothes, because there's that sort of thing too, and a lot of you ladies of course know what I'm talking about, where a man will look at you in such a way of like disgust and degradation. And that's probably another topic too. These are things that we can't really write down in law. It's a little bit too many idiosyncrasies that can be felt and experienced, right, rather than a fact like a book fact or the scientific fact. But we know what it is. We know what it is when a man is giving a genuine compliment and might even be interested and might even be attracted, versus a man who is like looking at you in a certain way, looking down at your butt and all this stuff, and just being so disgusting about it that you just want to kind of punch him in his face. Well, yeah. You men that do that can't go screaming about harassment and Me Too because you're an ass. And stop doing that. It's disrespectful. Stop doing that. At the same time, you women who are making every little single thing a problem because he said you had on a nice hat. It's like, calm down. Because that's when we start to lose men and women being able to relate to each other. There's nothing wrong with men giving you compliments, even if it is coming from a slightly, we know what it is. It's men and women, but again, maybe this is why things can't be solved, right? Because everything just gets into one big mishmash, and I don't know. I'll bring up some other topics. I don't know if I'm going to read any more of these comments. I do remember from the very beginning someone saying something like 80% of marriages end up in divorce. Someone took the time, oh my God, this is hilarious, to say that he was a troll, what looks to be like about, I don't know, 100 times he just kept writing troll over and over and over and over again. Wow, these hashtags are interesting. I wouldn't expect this. So he says not even worth watching, but you just like wrote the word troll down 1,000 times. I mean, it's just very like, okay. It doesn't even make any sense. That's very contra. Let's see. But anyway, like I was saying, so here's the cold fact. Um, ooh, this is different. 80% is involved. So the first thing I was saying from the first comment was that 80% of divorces, 80% of marriages end up in divorces. First of all, I think that number is a little off. If it is true, I don't know if we should be counting the people who got married in Vegas and like got something annulled, or people who just really these days got married too quickly, and I guess my point is I don't know if that statistic in itself is enough not to want to have a committed relationship with someone who you don't think is going to divorce you again. Right? Like that gets a little. Now this guy. Ooh, let's see. This is actually talking about some hurt too, and this is actually the conversation that I do want to have, because I want to get to the nitty gritty of this. This is just not. It's not that simple. Here's the cold, hard fact. 80% of women will only chase after the top 20% of men. And in doing so, will have men fight and compete against each other at the cost of the male species. In the eyes of the female, all males are disposable. So I don't even know what to say. And this guy has more of a smiley face as his name. So, but you know who you are. He has some kind of interesting. Oh, man. I don't know what to say about that, because if you feel that 80% of women only chase after the top 20% of men, and that we think males are disposable, that's really sad, because then that kind of shows how you feel about yourself and how you feel about men, and you just think that women just think that you're really disposable. But what about us women that really just look at you like human beings, and in a lot of ways we could just be platonic friends with you? And when I say platonic friends, I mean we care about you as human beings and as people to be your friends. I have a lot of male friends who are just that, friends, right? So I care about them as people. So that kind of, it negates what you're saying about women thinking of men as disposable. That's just not true. And the other thing that's not true, there's a lot of women that have sons, and they don't think their sons are disposable. They don't think their fathers are disposable. Their uncles, their cousins, their brothers. So for a lot of men to think that women think that men are just disposable is really sad. So obviously you're talking about more from a romantic point of view. I think if you watch too many of these feminists that I mentioned earlier, in a certain section of women who are really running that I hate men mentality, well, then I can see why you would have that viewpoint. So then my next thing to a lot of you men is, watch who you're listening to and watch who you're hanging around. And again, I know some states and some cities might not offer a ton of variety, but if you're in that group of like overly like fuck men type of, that's their whole spiel, turn it off. Don't listen to them. Don't follow them. Don't get into that whole BS, because you're making it seem like all women are like that, and there's a lot of women who are just simply not in that category. I mean, simply put, I don't even know how to like prove it. They don't, and if they are at the moment like screw men, all men are bad, it's only because they have to been recently hurt. So it's not really like they're even speaking from the most logical portion of their mind at that time. They're hurt. Maybe they were hurt several times, and so now they're like, men are disposable. But most women really don't believe that. Not for like the majority of their life. Like, please. So that comment, I'll leave it at that. But just know, guys, that not all women think of men are disposable. People these days are still capable of love, true love. I don't mean from necessarily an only Cinderella standpoint. Just be careful because, oh, that's what it was. One of the gentlemen, and I may have touched on this earlier, mentioned, well, you didn't touch on liberalism and how liberalism is responsible for this. And in some ways, he's very correct because I don't want to get too deep into that, but just be careful a lot of the stuff you're watching because a lot of this so-called liberalistic stuff, and I say liberal because, again, like feminism, what it meant to be a liberal a few decades ago is very different from what certain people are labeling themselves as liberals now. And there's a certain group of liberals who are making it so hard just to have normal human relationships, and people are losing touch with each other, partly because of technology and a lot of other things. You guys will really think that all women are in this weird category of the women you've been watching on media. But media, same way it doesn't represent all men, doesn't represent all races, right? Doesn't represent what's going on in every country. It certainly does not represent all women. So a lot of the women that are of a certain caliber, you're not going to see in these circles of the anti-man circles that I see going around. Like some of these people who are just anti-man and like men suck. Well, you're not going to see us in those circles. So if that's all you're looking at and you think all women are that, just think about it, guys. You know, be a little more open-minded to the people around you. Be more open-minded to people you might run into that might be outside of social media. Right? Just be open-minded to it because at the end of the day, I think we all just really want to be happy. And the amount of comments that I got, some of them are hilarious and insulting and just weird. It's like, whatever. Clearly you cared enough to write something. So, again, thanks for that. Because more YouTube traffic, more cha-ching for me. So, thank you. But the fact that you did comment that much means that you care. So, I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. You were hurt recently. Now you're a MGTOW. We get it. Let's have an adult discussion. So I'll leave this video open for comments, but some of y'all I'm just going to have to delete or, I don't know, review first because please spell properly. At the very least, at least speak grammatically properly. Come on. Act like you know. Peace.